Welcome to another episode of the Rock Fantasy Files, and we have a very special episode put together tonight by our good friend Denis Barthe that helps out a lot with the channel. And Denny, can you tell us about this great episode that you've put together and some of the guests that we have in the room? And welcome everyone.
Cheers.
What's up? Cheers.
Yes, for sure. Like Voivod, personally for me, are pretty much like hometown heroes. We worship these guys, and it just made sense for me to have them like part of the Rock Fantasy File. It's a band like these guys are legendary. So Snake and Away, thank you so much for joining us today. So besides Snake and Away, we do have I'll go square by square, I guess.
Yeah.
We have Mr. King Fowley from this season, October 31st.
I don't like to think I'm square though. Voi Vod!
Yeah, man.
Number one fucking fan of all time. Away knows 51 gigs. Love you guys. Thank you for having me. Cheers.
We also have John McEntee from the almighty Incantation. Thank you, John, for joining us.
Thank you.
We
Total
have
honor.
Hansi, Hilmer from Boise, Idaho, the troublemakers of Boise, Idaho, from Filth, Hounds. Thank you, Hansi, for joining us. Huge Voivod.
Yeah.
We have Carroll from another almighty Death Angel. Thank you, Will, for joining us.
Pleasure to be here, man. I'm a lifelong.
We have Stephen Levin, huge Voivod fan. I think he's pretty much begged me to participate today. It's
Okay.
I need to be on. I need to be on. And of course, the ringmaster Stephen Keeler is here as well. So
rockfantasy.com. Thank you.
Right. So who wants to start first? We want to talk about, we said, we want to talk about 3 favorite albums, 3 favorite songs, first time you heard about Voivod, first concert, and a question for the boys we want to ask today. So who wants to go first?
I can go first if you want to get me done and over with. My connection with Voivod was a few years ago. You guys were on tour and you played the Chance Theater, and that's your connection with Rock Fantasy I was going to talk about. We actually sponsored the show at the Chance. You were on the road with Napalm Death, and I think it was February 2015, and it was a big snowstorm out, and it was one of the first shows I attended after my accident. I got hit by a car, and I was in the hospital for quite a while.
Wow.
Shows. I had a friend drive me up, and I just remember it being a really memorable show. And I'll go over quick my favorite albums. I'll start out with number 3. I'm going to go with Roar. And I'll just mention a couple songs off of that, I guess. Build Your Weapons, and of course, Kolgo the Exterminator. My number 2, I'm going to go with Dimension Hatros, Macro Solutions, The Mega Problems, the Psychic Vacuum, and Chaos Mongers. And my number 1, my favorite album from you guys would be Killing Technology, and I love Forgotten in Space, and I love Tornado. And I mean, I love all the songs on these albums, but I'm supposed to only pick a couple. And I mean, I love the latest stuff you put out too. So I was going to make it short and sweet, but that was my connection. And man, I don't even remember the first show I saw you guys at. So I'm just going to go with the last time I saw you. And actually, the last time I actually saw you guys, you were walking around Brooklyn and you were playing at Brooklyn Bazaar, but I was at a different show in Manhattan, but I was in Brooklyn doing something else the afternoon. I looked over and I'm like, man, it's like Voivod walking down the street. And somebody said, oh yeah, they're playing. It was like one of those shows in New York City where there was 3 major tours in town at the same night, and you had to pick which one to come. But it's an honor to have you guys on my channel, and I'm the little fish in the big sea here, so I'm just going to make it quick and hop on to somebody else. Thanks.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Do you have any question for Taking Away, Stephen?
I'm going to let you guys ask the questions. I think right now, maybe I'll think up something later on in the program. All right.
Cool, man. Cool, man.
I'll go next.
Okay.
Will, you're next.
My introduction to Voivod was seeing the video for Tribal Convictions on Headbangers Ball, and I had never seen anything quite like it or heard anything like it. And I was blown away by the video. It was just so different than anything else MTV was showing, at least on Headbangers Ball. And I went out and bought the album, and I was so confused when I heard it. I didn't know what to think of it. I thought my record was skipping, maybe. I never heard like bizarre drum beats and time signatures like that. So I didn't really like it at first, but it was so bizarre and left field of anything else that I kept on listening to it. And then one day it just broke through and I realized how brilliant it was. And I've been a fan ever since. You're my favorite metal band, aside from Judas Priest. And the first time I saw you guys was on the Nothing Face tour at the Warfield, supporting Testament with Nuclear Assault opening. You guys remember that show?
Yes.
It was a big show. It was great. I was supposed to see the tour before when you did it with Soundgarden and Faith No More, but I was grounded and my parents wouldn't let me go. So the Warfield, the Warfield was my first show. My 3 favorite Voivod albums, I'll go from number 3 to number 1. Actually, I'll go with number 1. It's Killing Technology. That was just a perfect turning point from the old into the new, and it just blew me away. My second favorite album is Angel Rat. When that came out, it shocked everybody, and some like hardcore thrash fans, friends of mine, didn't understand it and didn't like it so much, but I loved it. It was like a breath of fresh air, and it was beautiful, beautiful music on that album. True masterpiece. And then my third favorite is Dimension Hatros, because that was my first Voivod album, and a song like Chaos Mongers is just so crazy. Michelle, your drum beats on that song are whacked, man. They're whacked. Great. So that's one of my favorite songs. Jack Luminous is one of my favorites. It's such an epic masterpiece. When I first got Outer Limits, speaking of Outer Limits, I just got my vinyl reissue. But when I saw the song was 17 minutes long, I knew I was in for a treat. That was going to be something special. Then my favorite Voivod song is Forgotten in Space. It's my favorite vocal performance by you, Snake. I love it. The lyrics are really cool. The concept of the prison ship hurling in space, like an endless voyage. It's so awesome. I love it. I also want to do an honorable mention for the song Ion, which was on the Heavy Metal 2 soundtrack. Really, really bizarre. I love the electronic drum sound, and you use electronic drums in that song, right?
Yes, I did. On the Outer Limits, I also use electronic pads, but on the Ion, I actually programmed it on a beatbox, and I used to fool around with electronics like that.
It has a really cool, unique sound, very sci-fi, very 80s. I love it. I love that.
Yeah, it was actually an older Dr. Rhythm 80s beatbox.
Okay.
Yeah.
And one more song I want to mention is Clouds in My House. How that song wasn't a hit is beyond me. I mean, did you guys have like high expectations for that song to be successful, or no?
Well, I was actually hoping it would be The Prowl as the first single, but the label wanted Clouds in My House. But personally, I prefer to play The Prowl live.
I don't think I've ever even seen you guys play Clouds in My House live before. Like, not in a long time. You haven't played it, right?
I'm not even sure if we ever did, actually. It's a good point. Yeah.
Wow. Well, great song nonetheless. And I've played with Voivod. My bands have opened for Voivod over the years. That's the first time I met you, Michelle, was on the Negatron tour. My old band, Old Grandad, opened. But that was a dream come true, just to play with you guys. And I love those 2 albums as well. Negatron and Phobos are a great era of Voivod, so I'm done blabbing. I love you guys.
Thank you.
I did think of one question, Denny, for the guys. I was always, I'm a big Rush fan, of course, and I always wanted to know, like, what was the connection of you guys getting to go out on the road with Rush? And that was I guess that is my question. So I hop back in to either Snake or...
How it happened, I barely remember it, but the way it happened, it's like we had an offer to open for Rush for 4 shows, 2 in Toronto and 1 in Quebec City and 1 in Montreal. And I guess, we had quite a bit of success with a Son of Me to Mine video, and we were on first rotation on Much Music and MTV, and so I guess we had some attention at the time, so we got this offer to do 4 shows with Rush, and it was brilliant. I mean, it was such a cool experience. First of all, you know, it was such an iconic thing, you know, and
yes,
I was like shaking before the first show. I was like, and I didn't know how people would react, you know, because Rush fans comes to see Rush basically, and they don't give much about, you know, the opening band, and but actually people had a lot of respect for us, and it went super cool. And on the first show, I remember that we came backstage after the show, and we had like a nice sets of flowers and a bottle of champagne signed with the guys. You know, everybody signed it, and it was like, you know, I was blown away because they were my idols and our idols. You know, so
yeah. We actually got to meet them for a short time at one of the shows, and but we were a bit quiet, and I didn't know what to say to Nilbert. What are you gonna say to the professor? You know?
yeah, like.
But they were really gentlemen, and as Snake said, it was a bit stressful because. Personally, I had seen Rush many times, and I had seen openers getting booed off the stage. But during the song "Astronomy the Mind," the crowd was louder than the music, and so it was a great moment.
Wow!
Yeah,
excellent.
Is that how you guys met Terry Brown, or got him to produce Angel Rat through that connection?
It's true that connection. It actually happened because our manager of them. Knew the Rush management, and through connections we got to record Angel Rat with Terry Brown, which was a great experience.
Awesome.
Thank you for that. That's interesting. That was just a question I had in my head and I forgot. Cool.
I can go next if you guys are cool, or anybody else have a question.
You
go,
can
John.
Go.
Okay. Well, the first time I really Voivod was on my radar was I used to watch this video show in New York City called U68, and they had the Warren Payne, I think the video, no, it was a Voivod video, but it was called like, I don't know if the album was called wrong, like the wrong name was like Want Pain or something like that. So I was just like, huh, Voivod Want Pain, you know, and it actually, I didn't know and I actually didn't know what the hell was going on, you know, but I just knew that it was, I mean, it was a killer video. It was just, you know, you guys were going crazy, had all the crazy shaped guitars and just, you know, a total like punk metal kind of vibe. So I immediately really got into it. And then, you know, once I, you know, picked up, I think by that time, like Roar and Warren Payne were out. I was just blown away. I mean, Raw, the first time I heard it was a little rough. I couldn't even comprehend what the hell was happening, you know, at that time. I was just like, it was like the most brutal thing I ever heard, you know, but I knew it was cool, but it took me a little while to like absorb all that insanity on that. Cause it was like Warren Payne was still like, it was crazy, but it was legible. And Roar is something that you really had to like really focus on a lot. But actually what was it? By the time you guys did Killing Technology, it was the first time I got to see you guys play live. And that was at L'Amour's. It was with Creator. And at that time, I was a really big Creator fan. I mean, I like Voivod a lot too, but I was probably going there a little more for Creator. I think I was on Pleasure to Kill, and I just love that album. So I remember I just finished watching Creator, and I was telling my friend, this is like the best show I ever seen in my life. It was so amazing. And then he's like, you know, once Voivod goes on, it's going to totally blow him away. And I was just like, I don't know if that's possible. It'd be nice, but I don't think that I could take that much, you know, brutality in one night. And then, you guys played, and I was just like, I was like, holy crap. It just blew my mind. I mean, L'Amour's was going freaking crazy. It was just people just slam dancing and stage diving and just total insanity. And it was just really great because hearing those songs off Roar live that you played at that show, it was just great to hear those songs and be able to really kind of get into the vibe. And I remember listening to the album after seeing you guys play live, and I actually appreciated that album a lot more. After seeing the power of them live, and it just really blew my mind. And I just love the originality that you guys have on all your music. It's very honest and distinctive. I think it's something that is just it's just you guys. As far as my favorite albums, I mean, I'm an old school dude, so I always like the early albums. I just like that development, so I'd have to go pretty much like, War and Pain, Roar, and then Killing Technology as my number one. I just think it's such an amazing development. And honestly, Killing Technology was the perfect like crescendo to that kind of aggressive vibe. I mean, Killing Technology was a lot more refined, a lot more understandable, but it really had just still had that aggression. You still had that killer like punk thing, and I thought it was really awesome that you were just able to throw in these total punk rock parts, mix it in with at that time, which was very over the top extreme metal stuff. It was just really a awesome thing. And as far as songs, I have to go with my third is Nuclear War. I just love that song. And that was just like the first Voivod song I learned. And I just remember playing it with my old band Revenant live. And it, we just thought we were the coolest being able to play a Voivod song live. It was totally awesome. And then I probably have to go with Korgel the Exterminator off Roar. I mean, that's such an amazing song. I mean, really that album has a lot of great songs on. I think it does lack, the production might have been a little over the top for some people at the time, but the songs are great. I mean, they have such killer, I don't know what you call it, like breakdown or like parts just make you want to like slam dance and stuff when you hear it on that album. And it's hard to pick a favorite because I wanted to pick one off Killing Technology, but man, the whole album is great. I was listening through it and I'm just like, how do you pick a favorite? I mean, I think Forgotten in Space is great, but I mean, every song I listened to on that album, when I listened to it, I was like, that's my favorite. No, that's my favorite. So, I mean, that's such a great thing to be able to have an album that just like every song is just phenomenal. But I mean, I have two questions. Is just, how was it back in the day doing those early tours with Creator? It seemed like, I mean, that was such a freaking awesome tour for that time. I mean, for an underground dude to go to a Creator Voivod show, it's like, holy fuck. And I know you guys took that in Europe and the US.
Yeah, the Creator tour was a world tour in '87. It was there was a lot of action. I must say the first few tours were totally insane. The first US tour with Celtic Frost in '86,
yeah,
and then the first Euro tour with Possess in '86, and then the World Tour in '87 with Creator, and then we did in '88 US tour with Violence, and these were very action-filled shows. Great times because we also we were all really young and touring with people our age, and the thrash metal movement was really exploding. So these were really exciting times.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
What one other question I had is, I'm just curious, what is, early on, what was your real inspiration on, like, to even start the band? Because it's so original. I mean, for that time when War and Pain came out, it was really something distinctively different. It definitely wasn't, there was nothing else like it that, at least that I knew of. I mean, it has a lot of punk aspect to it, but I mean, there's a lot of metal to it too, or something. I'm just curious where your heads were at.
Well, I think we created, when we did our first record, we didn't know anything mostly. I just like Piggy had a lot of experience on guitar, but he was playing a different way. And
yes.
So I've never sang any notes, anything. And so it was really, we started up just, Michel was playing drum for a while, but we were like, it was all new for us, you know? And so we were starting from scratch, and I was barely speaking English, and I was trying to figure out, you know, we were doing covers and trying to figure out the lyrics and trying to sing in English and talk in English. And it was really complicated, but it was the beginning of it. And it was like, we got the inspiration from everything, from what we were reading, like, you know, comic books or whatever. And it was and Piggy came with all these dissonant chords, you know, and I never sang.
It's insane.
So I started to sing on those dissonant pattern, and it actually created my way of singing, because I never, and sometimes people say, like even Chewy said to me once, he said, no one sounds like me, no one sings like you, because you're able to get something or a pitch or something on a really dissonant note. And I think, like you were saying, that you were not understanding at first what was on the record, and we all built. You know, Michel was drawing the cover, so it was like a teamwork of. We created a monster. That's let's put all this into a big ball and glue it together, and I think it created something completely original as for a record, but also as for a band, you know, and that's why pretty much nothing sounds like us, because Piggy came with such weird chords, and that's what happened. I know fans that didn't like Voivod at first, but once they got hooked, it's forever. It changed the pattern of their hearing.
Yes.
And I guess it's the same thing when you hear, like, I don't know, like Arabian music, you know, so if you're not used to it, it sounds like, oh, it's out of tune or something. But once you get used to it, I guess it's normal, you know, or Chinese music. It sounds weird. It sounds completely out of tune. But for them, they're used to it. It's the only music they know. So your hearing, get used to get used to those dissonant chords, and then, you know, once you're hooked forever. I think it's the way.
I'm sorry.
And also we we all met in high school in the 70s, and we liked to listen to hard rock, punk rock, prog rock. But it's really when we went to college and the new wave of British heavy metal happened that we got excited and wanted to form a band. And so we had all these different styles in our blood. But when Snake joined in January '83 for the audition, we asked him to sing "The Ripper" by Judas Priest, and he sort of sang it like Johnny Rotten. So we immediately thought, wow, that's like a really nice avenue to go towards too. And so from the start, we had our own style, but we didn't really know until we started to tour with other bands. That's when we realized that this type of music, sort of prog metal punkish music, was not really people were not really familiar with that type of music outside of Quebec, really.
Well, that's actually a good thing that there's no internet back then, so your style didn't get out until it did. It didn't have people trying to copy it, or there was nothing to judge it against, I guess. But I mean, the Piggy style of playing, I mean, was he always just playing? Was he just always interested in those dissident type chords, or was it something that was like thought about, like, let's just make, we want to have kind of a spacey, grungy vibe, and this is what we were looking for, or was just his playing?
I actually asked him, where did you get these chords, because he always had them. And he told me that he got it from playing Keith Emerson's organ part on ELP albums. So that's how he, so that's how he got all these weird chords. It's just translating the organ and synthesizer into a guitar chords. But I know also that he was a huge fan of Robert Fripp as well. So some of his chords might have come from King Crimson, and also a hero of his was Alex Lifeson, which was also using strange chords. So that's pretty much the synthesis, I guess.
But Piggy was like it was so unique the way it was visualized music in a sense, you know, and then even with his equipment, he was like disassemble thing, replug it in a different way, searching for the song, the sound. He was buying new equipment. It was like disassemble it, you know, and then just to look how it's made, and you know, and then replug it in a different way. And he was listening to records backwards, you know, in order to create some other patterns, you know. It's like another way to riff or something, you know. And he was always looking for something weird or different, or, you know, that could take the song or what we were working on in a different avenue, in a different pattern, you know. So he was he was a real wizard. I don't know.
What? It's a wizard. We saw him. He used to come to the jam space with cassettes. Then he would open them and flip the tapes in the cassette, so it would play backwards, and it forced us to listen to it. And also he took the strap out of his turntable so he could spin it backwards, and he was recording the vinyls backwards on cassette, and he had a very good ear because he was able to keep the pitch pretty good.
Right.
Yeah. And so we kept like so we kept listening to backwards music, and on some of the albums, like Damage and Hatras, you'll hear like a part of Yes Relayer, but backwards and so on. So people can spot it.
What was there parts that were, you know, he come up with it, you guys were just like, I don't get it. Like, what planet are you on as far as coming up with this? Was it ever like maybe too much, or just something where you're just like, I don't know, it's a little bit too wacky? Or
no, it was
like, hell yeah.
It was it was supernatural to us to get into it, and I myself was very much into a band like Van der Graaf Generator, which sort of had a backward thing going, where the drummer definitely played backward beats, and so I was just excited to really try to push the style forward. But personally, I find that it took me 3 or 4 albums before I really got a hold of my drum playing. I can hear mistakes on the first 3 albums, but on Dimension Atlas, I started to be pretty pleased with what I was able to achieve. But at this point, we had been rehearsing every night from 83 to 88, 89. We pretty much rehearsed every night.
Yeah.
So there's that's why there's such a difference between, let's say, Warren Payne and Nothing Face in a way.
Yeah. My last statement before moving on is just, I looked at you guys as kind of like, I don't know, almost like Kiss or something, where it was like 4 individual members, but at the same time being able to come together for this unit. And it just was really, I mean, because each of you guys almost had like your own identity in a way, or at least like that was the vibe that I had about it. I just thought it was really cool that you guys were able to, you know, come across bigger than life, we'll say, you know, at that time.
Yeah, I think that what really helped was that the nicknames, because we had French names, and we thought nobody's going to remember Michel Langevin, Denis Barthe, and such. So we thought, okay, let's find like a cool nickname for everybody, sort of representative, that some catchy names that people will remember. So it turned into like a mixture of like Venom, Ramones, and the banana split. so I think, and now like nobody really calls me Michel. Everybody calls me Away, so I have to deal with it.
That's cool. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you answering us. That was interesting for sure.
All right, he's been waiting long enough. Like, let's go before King starts like crawling on this like ceiling. And
I was enjoying that. Yeah.
All right, dude, it's all yours. All yours.
Thank you.
With the Don Kirshner's rock concert shirt on.
Who didn't stay up till 1 o'clock in the morning and watch Kiss and 70 fucking whatever?
Yeah. Awesome.
I discovered Voivod through rehearsal tapes. Before they had it was a Condemned to the Gallows, like 3 different versions on one tape of Condemned to the Gallows, and Hell Driver was on there and a couple ones. It was just the back of another demo. I think it was just some bullshit that I had, and in the back it had this thing. I said, what the fuck does that say? Voivod, avoid. I couldn't read it. You know, in the early days, that's how it was. I know Voivod will remember the early Kerrang reviews where they called him a Void Vod.
Yeah.
But you remember that, don't you, Owen?
Yeah.
And then,
yeah.
And then you guys did the Metal Massacre track, which was Condemned to the Gallows again. I'm like, these motherfuckers got a lot of versions of Condemned to the Gallows, right? And it was phenomenal. And then I got a hold of all the demos and stuff. And then I wrote you guys before you even had the album. And I know especially Away remembers you did the wrong thing. You gave me your phone number. And I called you every fucking day to the point where you're like, oh, King, I gotta go, man. I gotta go. And you and Away, you and me used to watch The Price is Right on TV, and you and me both liked Holly, the girl Holly, the spokesmodel Holly with the red hair. You probably don't even remember that. And then I would write guys, and we weren't even called Deceased yet. We were actually called Mad Butcher with 2 D's. And then Snake wrote me back and he said, it sounds like a real runchy band. It wasn't raunchy, it was runchy. And I love that. And then we changed it to Deceased, but then you guys kept writing me back with Deceased without the D at the end. And you even put that in the Roars thank you list, King from Deceased, no D at the end.
Oops.
And that's where we were. And then I ordered Warren Payne through the record exchange in California mail order. And it came to me, and I opened that record, and I just saw it come out of the box, and those colors of that artwork was nuclear war to me. Like, those were the colors of the end of the world. And I was just looked at this thing before I even played it. Then I pulled the lyric sheet out. I looked at the side with the collage and all your pictures, the early days with the sunglasses and the jean jackets and all that stuff where we're all growing our hair out, you know, and we're winging it back. And, you know, we look like fucking Andy Gibb. Then I flipped the lyrics. I started looking at the lyrics with your writing on it, which was amazing. Your handwriting was so fucking cool. It was primitive yet futuristic. It was so unique. Then I put that fucking record, the needle down, and I heard those chains dragging across the snow, which I didn't know at the time was that. And the record just hit me. And look at me. This is what it did to me. I'm fucked up from Warren Payne. It destroyed me. I played that record, and I'm not an exaggerator, at least 50 times that fucking over the next 30, 40 hours, whatever, I mean, you can get that amount of time. I just kept flipping the record back and forth, and every tune destroyed me, just fucking destroyed me. And I was like, this is the greatest thing ever. It killed everything. Heavier than Venom, fucking, you know, just anything of the time. You destroyed me. Took my Black Sabbath away, took my Maiden away, took my Merciful Fate away, took everything. And I was just like, this is my favorite band. Wrote it on my tennis shoes, wrote it all over my wooden floor of my house. My mom's like, what the fuck are you writing in Sharpie pen all over the floor? Voivod, Mom. Loved it so much. Had some friends in Brazil who did those early bootleg shirts, and they had these crazy Warren Payne fucking shirts. And I got some of that stuff. And then I started writing you guys. You sent me all your T-shirts, everything. And we made plans to meet. And then you played fucking, the first time I ever saw you play was at the Ritz, your very first US show, as you know, with you guys played with Pro Mags and Venom. And I was there both nights. The first night was Carnivore and fucking Venom. And I had a bag of hash about this big, and I couldn't. We just went insane, all of us. And then you took the fucking stage on Saturday. I was in the front, and I had that Kodak camera, and I would not move. All my friends were everywhere but there. I just stood there. I said, I'm not moving till Voivod fucking plays. And you guys came out, and fucking Snake came out with the fucking mask and everything. And it was just so insane. It was just so fucking nuts. And I was insane. And I don't even know if Snake knows this, but I had just sent you guys a rehearsal of our first Deceased tune. Well, it was of our first rehearsal called After the Bloodshed. And you came over to me, and it's on the live tape, it's on the video. And you point at me and you go, "After the bloodshed, huh?" Oh my God. You blew me away, man. You blew me away. So then the show was over. We walked backstage. We were hanging out with you guys. Whiplash came back there, was handing you guys records. Blessed Death was over there, some of the US bands. And we just fucking smoked and smoked and smoked and smoked. Went outside, got pizza, went back inside. We were all fucking watching a little bit of the Cro-Mags ending. Then we watched a little bit of Venom, and we were just, it was insane. And I was like, if this is the only time I ever get to see these guys, this is the greatest moment of my life. It's still the best underground concert by any band ever in the history of time. And I've seen 51 Voivod shows to date. And that's still the one, because it's just because it was first. It's so fucking special to me. And I was just like, this is what the underground is. And I've grown up, I've gone bald with you guys. We got our glasses now and all that kind of shit. We're all growing up together. You guys got a couple years on me, but not much. And we've all been through what we've been through in life and death. And I've watched you guys just go. All your records, they're all the most fucking honest, just professional, unique, creative records in the history of underground music. I don't even want to call you underground, but I'll call you underground for the simple fact that you're the real deal. You guys are just where it's at. You never fucking lost your way. You always did things, any era of the band, through all your good times. You know, we've all been through bad times as well. You just blow me the fuck away. And I've always just cheered for you guys, man. When I see you guys, I followed you guys on tour. I didn't get to see anything on the Roar tour. On the Roar tour, I never got to see shit. It never come around. It was fucking weird. And then when you guys did Killing Technology, I was coming off of drugs, and Snake dedicated Ravenous Medicine to me at the East Side in DC. And we really made a good connection there. And you guys really, I knew you were my friends, and it was just so cool. And then when I got better from drugs in '88, I went out and I followed you guys on the tour with you guys in Violence for about 10 days. You guys played up at the Network in Baltimore, and you did like stuff in New Jersey, Sundance, things like that. And I saw all the shows. And then I never, ever missed you since. If Nothing Faced, I did all those shows. And I'm not the world's best Faith No More Soundgarden guy. I was sat through everything for Voivod, just for you guys. I remember we played a show, Deceased, on an afternoon matinee. Then I left, as soon as the show was over, I got in the car and got to Lemorse for the last night of the tour when you guys did the Frank Zappa tune and we're throwing mustard all over each other with Soundgarden and them. Yeah. All that. As soon as we finished playing, I said, I'm going to see Voivod right fucking now, you know, and just do it all the years, you know. When Piggy hooked up with the bass player for Deceased, Les, his girlfriend, his ex-girlfriend, Piggy hooked up with her at the Bayou in DC, and you guys left to go to Pittsburgh, and he's like, man, I got no way to get there. I'm stuck here with this girl. So we rented a car. Me and Piggy and this girl, and he showed up in Pittsburgh, and he said, they're going to rip all my strings off my guitar. That's like what happens to me if I'm fucking late for this shit. We got there. You guys played. You had a big tour bus, and I remember Away was collecting, you were getting a lot of Halloween toys and shit from fucking Rite Aid. You had a lot of toys in the back of the bus, and I remember Snake was polishing his teeth with the electric toothbrush and singing a bunch of Doors song with his cowboy hat. And then when you guys finished playing, we all drank on the bus, and I had this fucking Super 8 whatever fucking camera, and we filmed one. You pulled out this rubber fucking tarantula. You had a spider, and these people came on the bus, and we did a stop animation thing where they walked around the bus killing all of us. I know you guys have been all around the world and done a lot of things, but I never forget this stuff. I got back home. The tape was busted on the movie. It was broken, but I still have the footage of you got a little bit of footage from the Outer Limits tour. So I did all that, you know, all the other times, you know, when I was missing Snake and Eric was doing stuff with the band, and when Piggy passed away, all that shit just is dear to my heart. You guys got good guys with Chewy and Rocky, man. It's still the same. The Wake is just as brilliant as Warren Payne is. You've never faltered me, never. And I'm one to always tell any band. I don't care. I tell my mom, hey man, that spaghetti wasn't a 10, mama. You know, she never made it. Hey, she never made it. Not a bad batch. Anyway, that's my Voivod. Why I love them. Why they're the greatest fucking band ever. Fucking to me. My favorite 3 albums. Number 3, Nothing Face. I think it's the perfect futuristic fucking album. It was ahead of its time. It was so unique. You guys got that computer, just futuristic vibe to it. I just love the sound of it, love the production. It was laid back, but yet it was so intense. I mean, you get in there and you get something like Missing Sequences or something, and it was just so fucking cool. I love that one. Number two, I'm sitting here listening to everybody say Killing Technology at one, and that's close for me, but I think I'm going to flip it today. Killing Technology is going to come in at number two to me today. That's the record for me. I remember Snake, to me, started singing. I loved what he was doing. Some people are like, oh man, Snake's singing now. What's he doing? That riff on the first song sounds like Mr. Roboto from Styx. I was like, this is the greatest thing ever. And then I bought the record, and then somebody told me, because you didn't have internet back then, somebody called me and said, yeah, I just got the tape, man. I love that song, Cockroaches. I'm like, cockroaches? I didn't get no fucking cockroaches. So I went back up to the store and bought me the tape, and I got too scared to scream, and fucking Cockroaches. Amazing. The production, Away's drums, best sound ever. Those toms in it, deep, loud, mean. Piggy and insane. He keeps all the fucking extra fucking bleed of the leads and coming in and out of them. The squeals are there. It's still ugly, but yet it's intense. And then number one, we're back to War and Pain. And the reason I switched here now is because when I was telling the story, it touched my fucking heart so much that just War and Pain is still, to me, the most of anything. Death metal, black metal, whatever the fuck's popular these days, extremeness, nothing's as intense as War and Pain to me. Blower, just you go to that Live for Violence, Black City, any of that stuff. You just got to play the record straight through. It's just one long fucking journey. And it was so weird. Suck Your Bone. I'm like, what the fuck are they talking about? These are insane. Go fish. You know, all that shit. Those shit, I'm not a fish. I was like, what the hell is he saying? And I'm looking at Away's writing, and it looks great. But I'm like, is that really what Snake's saying? And, you know, the Black Cat awaits the witch, all that. And that's the one for me. That's the fucking one, dude. I'm, woo. Three best songs. You're killing me. I don't know if I can do it. I'm gonna try. Number three, Killing Technology. I love that song. It was the, like people have said before me here, it was the start of that sound. It was Voivod. I don't want to say you grew up because you were already ahead of the pack, but it was just the one that came out and you just kicked it so hard and it was so vicious and everything was, it really was. I know it's not the song it happens on, but it was All Systems Go. I mean, that was it. I mean, it was perfection. It was perfection. And not that Roar or War and Pain weren't, but it was just that song, perfection. Number two song, Warriors of Ice. I'm going to go with Warriors of Ice. It's the Blackie blower bass, all that stuff. I mean, I think I pretty much think Warriors of Ice was that one of your later songs you wrote for War and Pain, Away or Snake?
I would think so.
Was that like close to the last song you wrote for the record?
Probably.
Because it seemed like that song was a little bit more deeper than most of the stuff. Not that there was some weird shit in there, man. You had a lot of that flange and shit going on your drums. And a lot of times you were like breaking down for drum parts on that record. Just out of nowhere, everything would stop and you just go. And it's like, away he's going. Here he goes again. or one thing that was cool at the time too was Blackie got a lot of just bass runs. A lot of bands didn't have a lot of bass fills. I mean, even Motorhead at the time didn't have a lot of that stuff. As for favorite song of all time, man, I'm just gonna say this one. I'm just gonna say Voivod, just because it's everything. And when I watch you guys play it, every time I watch you play it with any lineup, however, it just makes me think of everything I just told you. My whole life, you guys' whole musical life to me, all of that. It's just all in one song. And you have the chorus. It's anthemic, yet it's fucking powerful. It's barbaric. It's hardcore. It's punk rock. It's thrash. It's everything. Speed. It's just the perfect thing. But there's hundreds and hundreds of Voivod songs that I love. Very, very, any record, any era. I know I just sent you away a few weeks ago. I reviewed every Voivod album ever, and I sent that to you. I mean, it's just, I go into every song. I'm the listener from start to finish, lyric sheet, album cover, your artwork, just, it's all there, man. It's all fucking there. And I just, I got no questions, man, except when are we going to play together? Because that's the other fucking thing, man. All these years we've known each other, okay? We always say, yeah, we got to do a Voivod to see show, okay? 3 times we were supposed to play together. We were. The first time was New York. It was December 4th, 1993, I think it was. Or maybe it was a little sooner. It was definitely December 3rd. You guys couldn't get into the country. We played last minute in New York. We played with a band called Scratching Post. I think that you guys knew them.
Yeah.
I think the girl knew you guys. It was a girl singer. They were weird. They were like new wavy, kind of alternative-y. It was weird. But I was like, where the fuck is Voivod? So didn't happen that time. Second time we were supposed to play with you guys was on at Jack's Empire, you know, up there in Springfield, Virginia. And Eric, you guys had the incident with the crash, and all those shows were stopped. And I was like, damn, we're not going to get to play. And then the third time, we sort of got to play with you guys, but it was a festival in Texas. And at the last minute, they had to split the clubs up into two. And you guys played one club, and we played the other club. So I didn't even feel like we got to play together. And we were on the poster together, I'll say that, but I don't count it. You know, and then then we were trying to work on some shows. At least I was talking to somebody that was talking about some shows here when you guys were going to try to tour last year with some of that stuff. And we have the fucking world pandemic. So I don't know. I don't know what to say about all that. You know, that's where it stands now. But we definitely got to get some shows together at some point. It's just something between you guys and Creator, two of my longest lasting friends between you guys and Mille and Ventor. Never played shows together. And it's weird because Deceased is in our 36th year now, you know, so it's just weird to me. But yeah, one day. It's not a question, it's just a statement. But I love you guys, man. I'm so happy you guys are healthy, and fucking I'm looking forward to the next record, and you deserve everything you get, man. And I'll always be the biggest Deceased freak on the planet. I'll wrestle alligators for you. I'll see you hundreds and hundreds more times. I'll go anywhere for you guys. And you know that, man. I've fought people in the audience before. You talked about it in my book, Away. Somebody threw some shit at fucking you guys one time, and I fucking freaked out. I'll always be there for you, man. If you ever need somebody ugly, mean, and nasty, it'll be me. And I love you guys. Voivod forever, man.
Thank you, King.
Yeah. I actually remember when somebody threw a glass or ice from a drink at Eric's eye, and you split the crowd to find the person. We never found him.
You know it. And I always feel like you guys are, especially you, Away, you're so mellow. You're such a good, you know, you guys are all good. Piggy was like that too. Just so fucking mellow. And I come at you, hey, it's just like overkill to you. You're like this funny. Motherfucker's nuts. God, and I don't know if I'm bugging you or it's fine. And I do want to say one last thing, and you can move on. When that happened with Piggy, and we went for that ride to Pittsburgh, when I gave him a ride up there with the girl, we got to hang out for it was a 6-hour ride with me and him and the girl. And we had the time of our life, and I really got to know Piggy, and all you were saying about music, and he told me about how he was getting the notes from Keith Emerson's organ and stuff. He told me Emerson, Lake and Palmer was his favorite. That's what he told me. He loved that so much. He actually gave me, and I still have it, he gave me his master. I have 90-minute tape of his solo riffs. He gave it to me on the bus on Dimension Hatros in Maryland. I still have that tape, and it's just something it's the only copy. Supposedly, it was just something he was working on, and I begged him, and he just gave it to me, man. And I love that man, and you know, he's a golden man, and wherever he is, man, we fucking love him, and we miss him. I know I do, man.
Yeah, I think about him every day, but he's still there guiding us in a way, because Chewy's been studying Piggy's style since he was a kid, and so I think that Chewy sort of kept the spirit of Voivod and the spirit of Piggy intact, but he still plays his own way. So
absolutely,
Snake thinks that Piggy sent Chewy to us.
I think so too. And I know, Away, when I read your book, I could tell you were really down and out at the time with Piggy's death, and I think you were thinking about calling it a day, really. And you know, and then Snake come back, which was fantastic, and then you guys, you know, fell into Chewy and now Rocky and stuff. It's right, man. You guys look happy. Look at Snake. I'm looking at him now. Look at Snake. You look great, man. Can you shoot some hot oil our way, man? But I love you guys, man. Thank you for everything, man. I love you guys.
Thank you, King. Actually, when with the unfortunate passing of Piggy, Snake and I, we didn't think that we would play live with Voivod again. So we mourned for a long while, for 3-4 years. But we were on a mission with Jason Newsted to finish 14 and Infini. But in terms of playing live, it really took the festival called Heavy Montreal they got us to reform in 2008. And we thought it'd be for one show, but it just never ended after that. We've been touring a lot since the reformation in 2008.
You guys had too much left to give, man. I'm so happy you kept going. Piggy's proud of you, man.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That just reminded me seeing you guys on the Ozfest tour the one year.
Oh, yeah.
You were on the side stage with like Cradle of Filth, and
Oh yeah.
I saw it in Wilkes-Barre, PA, and it was like a pouring rainstorm came up while you guys were playing, and we were like, well, it's raining and Voivod's coming on, and that's and my one friend was miserable. It's like, raining, let's go get drunk. Gonna get drunk if you're standing and watching a band in the rain. There's no way around it.
It was a really great tour and great time that year when we released the Voivod self-titled album in 2003. And then Jason joined the band, but he also joined Ozzy. So all of a sudden we're touring with Ozzy the whole year. And Jason was doing 2 shows a day. At this point, Ozzy was playing a couple of hours or more a night. So Jason Newsted is a true warrior. I can tell you that, man.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, guys. Who wants to go next? Steven or Hansi?
Yeah.
Hansi's on. Go, Boise, Idaho. Troublemaker.
Hey, how do I follow the king? It's impossible. I mean, seriously, right?
I didn't argue at all.
I mean, shit. I don't even know where to start. But hey, the first time my experience with Voivod, I would say, was we had a heavy metal club in Germany. It was called Destroyer in 1984, 85, and used to tape trade. And the guy, his name was Voi Vodka, was his nickname. I'm not shitting you. And he had a jacket made all with Voivod, painted on there, and spikes and everything all over it. And anyway, so we all got into Voivod really early during that time. And I seen Voivod the first time on that tour in 1986, I want to say, with Possessed.
Mm-hmm.
We went to Bochum Zesche. I seen that show there, and
Riot.
Yes, many shows after that, but always been a huge fan, and I gotta say, to me, Voivod has always been a band that's been way ahead of time, even from the first album already. My opinion, was always something that was always, in my opinion, very underrated and never got the respect that it deserved. So to me, it was always like, kind of like the Pink Floyd of metal, if you will, later on progressing to the albums, So, to this day, untouchable, my opinion. My 3 albums, where to go here, okay? I love them all. I got to go with War and Pain, obviously, Killing Technology, and The Outer Limits. I love this album. It has a lot of, feel to it. It brings back memories for me. All songs. Where to start? I really wouldn't even know where to start. But the 3 songs there, probably my favorite. Number 3, Tornado. Number 2, Nobody Said It Yet. Fuck Off and Die. That was back then. I was like the of our youth, man. It was the song of our youth. You know what I mean? Everybody is like, fuck off and die. And Forgotten in Space also, another super killer song. Like I said, been always huge fan, and always thought, that band is so underrated. Should have gotten a lot bigger, more appreciation from from the masses. In my opinion, there's not an album I don't like. I love them all. Angel Red is another album I absolutely love to the bone. All this. Actually, it's a funny story. I met Jason Newsted a few years ago, and he was talking to a few people, and he was talking about Metallica and all this stuff. And he said, anybody has any interesting questions here? And I said, yeah, I do. I said, how was it for you? I mean, I would have died, if I would have got to join Voivod. I said, how was it for you? And he goes, oh my God. He goes, that's the best question all night. He goes, that was great. He goes, I was like a kid in a candy store. He absolutely loved it. We talked for hours afterwards because
Cool.
he was so, humbled by all this, and it was kind of cool to hear him talk about it, And my question is, will there be hopefully another tour coming through the US, and maybe do something more in the northwestern part, as maybe Portland, Salt Lake City, or maybe even Boise, Idaho. Who knows? It's something. Yeah. There's something in the works, maybe.
Yes. I mean, what's going on right now is tough for everybody. Where we had the world tour in 2020 postponed to 2021, which is now postponed to 2022. But we do have plans to go across USA next year for sure, though.
Super. That'd be awesome. Yeah. Other than that, I got nothing. I can't follow the king, man. That was just,
Did a great job, Hansi.
Yeah, all the stuff what I was going to say and ask, he already said it. So it's like I'm sitting here going, great.
I'm actually King has been witness to a crazy show with Venom and the Cro-Mags, but you witnessed another crazy show in Bochum where the security people didn't know what a mosh pit was, so they started to beat up people, and the people started to beat up the security people.
I was there.
It turned into a big riot, and people jumped on stage and destroyed the gear. It was insane.
It was insane. I remember that. There was a huge fight later outside too.
And some kind of militia with dogs showed up and cleared the place. It was really scary, man.
Yeah, it's a rough area, man. Bochum and the Ruhrpott over there. Yeah. It's a tough area, man. Yeah.
The people were really proud of their scene. Instead of yelling Voi Vod, Voi Vod, they were yelling Bochum, Bochum, Bochum. Yeah. Super proud of their
That was something I always remember. I still have the ticket somewhere as well. It was amazing. I mean, one of those shows you never forget.
And when we actually went back the year after with Creator, the security people came up with they had baseball bats. They were expecting another riot, and the guys from Creator they didn't want to go on stage, so we didn't want to go on stage, and everybody was pissed off to a manager. So the guys from Creator phoned their friends, and they came to do the security work, and the night was super nice.
It was Heavy Metal Fan Club Felbert, 1981. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I was part of that. Actually, I was at that show as well with Creator. Yes, that was awesome too, man. Yeah, but I remember that they did after that quite a while. Felbert people, the club did security for the Bochum session for all kinds of other shows as well. After that,
cool.
So yeah, that was killer. Other than that, man, I'm just very humbled to be on here and talking to you legends here. One of my absolute favorite bands of all time. I probably still to this day own probably 80 Voivod shirts. So, out of my 6,000 shirts that I own, I have probably 80 Voivod shirts still. Some of them I can't wear anymore. I gained a few pounds, but it's nice to look at, show your kids and grandkids, but yeah, absolutely. That's all I had, guys,
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Yes. All right, Stephen Levin, you've been waiting, man. We all been talking. You've been waiting patiently. The floor is yours, dude.
What an honor. I mean, this is the first time I've actually had jitters doing one of the shows, because you guys are literally gods to me. I mean, there was Slayer, and then along comes Voivod. And I still love Slayer, but I could have forgotten about him right then, because Voivod, they are the kings. Well, King is the king, but you guys are the kings also. and I always joke around with King when I'm writing online, and I say that if I had stayed in Maryland instead of moving to New York, me and him would have met and gotten in a lot of trouble together. But I was at the show, though, and I'm sure that you were standing right in front of me, because I was right there, dead center stage also. So, I mean, that was the first time I saw you. That was the second show you guys had in the States. I had also had those Condemned to the Gallows demos, and then I got the Metal Massacre on that had the Condemned to the Gallows, the 40th version, which, that's what King had mentioned, which is so funny. But I mean, you guys have always just been the best to me. The funny thing is I was thinking about it as we were recording, and I guess I always liked the heaviest stuff out of any of my friends. So somebody sold me Venom Welcome to Hell because it was too heavy for me, for them. And then somebody sold me the first Voivod for $5 because they just couldn't get it. It was like War and Pain just blew their mind. But me and a good friend of mine were really into getting high. And we used to drive around, which I don't condone. And no, I didn't really say that. But he used to, and we used to listen to that album from start to finish. And just like King said, it takes you on a journey. It takes you to another world. And that's the world that you guys made. It has to do with Away's artwork and Snake's vocals and the pronunciation of the words, because you didn't quite know the words, but the way that you said them. And believe me, we studied those lyrics and we learned to sing them exactly like you did. I mean, it was magic. Like some of those words we'd look at and go, is that what he's saying? Then we'd read the lyrics and sure enough it was. But you guys have always been the complete deal. I mean, I just can't even tell you what it means for me to be here to talk to you. I was lucky enough to meet Away and Chewy at a show a few years ago. And I did convey to Chewy that he honestly he captured the spirit of Piggy. I mean, Piggy definitely has come to him in dreams, whatever. I mean, how he's able to do that, it's just amazing. And the influence that Piggy had on me as far as playing guitar with those dissonant chords, that's something that even today when I'm writing stuff, I still use those chords quite often. And to name favorite albums, I would say, absolutely War and Pain is going to always be one of my favorite. The song Nuclear Death, the cadence in that, the bass and the way it comes in and everything, it's just so great. Black City, amazing song. I think I'm going to be just like King on this one. I don't want to copy him, but I'm going to flip-flop too. Usually Killing Technology is my favorite album. This time I'm going to go with that being number 2. Ravenous Medicine is such a great song. I love that. Forgotten in Space, Tornado. I mean, every song. It was truly the culmination of all the years that you put in to get to that point. And just what a great album. And the artwork on the cover, man, the way that you had Korgol there behind the computer and everything, it's like pushing the button to end mankind, and that would have been the soundtrack for it too, for sure. But number 1 album, I'm going to have to go with Roar. I know it was really raw for a lot of people. I actually had the advanced tape of that for quite a while before the album came out. And the advanced tape was even more raw. And I really love that recording. And the funny thing is that was an album that I turned a kid onto that really didn't even like heavy music. And he ended up loving it. And weird thing is, I was thinking about it. He committed suicide some time ago over a girl for whatever reason. But it was just strange that you guys, your music meant something to him. And he wasn't into heavy music at all. He didn't even really listen to that much music, but he really loved that. And every time I would come over, he'd say, "Hey, do you have that tape?" And I put it in, and he gets so into it. So that just goes to really show the soul that you guys had, that musical soul. And I mean, as far as originality goes, there's never going to be any metal band that's original as you guys. I mean, it's just too much to think about all the great songs. One of my favorites, I would say, is To the Death. Away, your drums in that at the end, you do some double bass work that just blows my mind. And that was one thing I used to always key on with the albums, was listen to a lot of your drums, because some of the stuff you did was just so crazy. It was so bizarre. And just listening to your drums alone would take you on a journey. But in particular, To the Death, you do this double bass thing at the end where you're like, I'm like, what the hell is he doing? I mean, it actually sounded like, I mean, honestly, it just too much, man. But yeah, it's truly an honor to be here. And the only question I could really think of is, Away, on the first album, did you only have a single bass kit?
I actually had two bass drums, but didn't know how to do all the beats properly. So like even the Motorhead beat, I didn't have down that Overkill beat, and so I think that War and Pain is a bit more punky because of that. By the time we did War, I really caught the technique of double kick drum playing, but things were happening really fast at this point where we had Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, but a couple of years later we had Venom, and then all of a sudden we have Slayer and DRI, and so everybody was trying to be so heavy, and Roar, I think we were trying to be heavier than everybody, like everybody was trying to be, and so I think that I might have played a little too fast for what I was about to achieve on the album, but it was just the energy of what we were at, you know, and yeah, and also. It's really reflective of the times as well, where it was the Cold War. And then by the time we did Killing Tech, we had like the Chernobyl accident, the Challenger explosion, and the Defense Strategic Initiative. And so it's all, it's sort of all crammed into the first 3-4 albums, what was happening in the 80s, really.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense as far as it really was moving so fast with jumping from new wave of British heavy metal into thrash and then right into death metal right after that. Everything was progressing very fast. But on War and Pain, you do some of the fastest single bass I've ever heard. I mean, it's just really incredible, some of the beats you do. And one last funny story that I just want to share with you guys is I was driving for a delivery company back when Killing Technology came out. And I stopped into my favorite record store back at the time, which was actually before Rock Fantasy. It was a place called Record City up in Poughkeepsie. Yeah. Record City was basically a head shop for the times. They had bongs and pipes, and they had posters and metal records and everything. So I would go in there and pick up whatever came out. And that day, Killing Technology came out. So I grabbed Killing Technology and 2 cases of nitrous. I don't know if you guys have ever done it before. I don't condone it, but this was 18-year-old, 19-year-old Steve. So I went home, I put on Killing Technology, side A, and I did a couple balloons of nitrous. And just as I exhaled it, I hear boop, 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 boop. And in my mind, I'm going, oh my God, am I dying? What's going on here? Is this I got started to bug out. And then I hear, we are connected. And then it all made sense. But for just a minute, I thought that maybe I'd done a little bit too much nitrous. So kids at home, if you're watching this, don't do nitrous. Throwing a little bit of flame there, you know. But anyway, Denny, thank you so much for putting this show together and making sure that I was involved, snaking away.
Thank you.
God's to me. I thank you for all the music. And just all the memories I have with you guys. There'd be too many. I'd be talking for hours. And Hans, I'd like to thank you for not making me follow King. Thank you, guys. Nice. Really appreciate it. It's an honor.
Thank you.
I guess I can go now.
You're the last in line, unless somebody else is showing up still, right?
No, nobody. I've been checking. Nobody yet has been communicating with me, so I'll just go now. There's so much I could say about Voivod. Like, I guess so many stories and you know, a lot of information about Voivod. But I can start at the beginning, and I don't even know if the guys know that how I know about Voivod. But so in Montreal, we do have a record store. It used to be called a Rock en Stock. And we used to go there to get like our Saxon, our Motorhead, our Slayer, and all that. And one day I entered the store, and the guy there says like, hey, you should try this band Voivod. So I look at the cover. It was already appealing to me. Like, you know, it looks like scary and shit. And the song title were like, okay, Nuclear War, Warriors of Ice. I mean, I'm buying it, right? So I buy the record, and like the guy never said that these guys were from Quebec. So like, I bring the record home, I put it on, and right away I'm like, holy fuck, this is weird, man. Like, you know, but like I could like capture the Motorhead vibe. I could capture a bit of the Venom vibe, but there was more to it. It was like very dissonant guitar playing and you know, the vocals and all that. But you know, right away, like right off the bat, like the song Warriors of Ice, like hooked me, Nuclear War hooked me and all that stuff. So and then I start to look at the credit inside the album, and it says like, it says that these guys were like, those were recorded in Quebec City, and these guys were from Jonquière, Quebec, which is for us is like bumfuck nowhere. Like it's like like in Quebec, Montreal is the center of the universe, right? And nothing else matters. So I thought I was the only guy that knew about Venom and metal and all that. But needless, so then I realized, like, holy fuck, these guys are from there. And I always like imagine like that city to be like just like metalheads, like killing people or something like that, right? So funny enough, like and that was like you know, I think 84, and soon after that, like start my band and all that, and then I don't know, like through connection and guys in the band and aggression and all that, like we knew that Voivod was moving to Montreal, and like I think I was like one of the first guy they probably met from Montreal. I was like maybe like 17 years old when I met those guys. Then you know, for us, you know, like they just told us how they feel about Rush, but for us, that's how we feel about Voivod. And I know these guys very well, but they're legends for us, right? So we had the privilege and actually, like both Snake and Away, like aggression prior to aggression used to be called Asylum, and they were at our first show ever as Asylum in like my school like gymnasium, and it was a complete fucking like it was such a crazy night. But like these guys were at the first ever aggression show, and then after that we had like the privilege to practice right beside Voivod. So not only like, you know, you can appreciate the musicianship and all that, but we were able to hear the progression and, you know, party with those guys and do all kind of different things with those guys. But musically, there was always like a progression that was happening. And, you know, and I remember like sometimes Piggy would stay later at the jam space, and I would stay a bit later after our practices, and we would both go in the middle of the Chez Emile. We used to practice Chez Emile. We used to go in the middle of the hallway, me and Piggy, and he would show me like, so he had like his rig in his jam space, I had my rig in my jam space in the middle, like full volume. And he used to show me like how to play like Uriah Heep, Magician's Birthday, or how to like, he was trying to show me Tarkus, like Emerson, like a Marvel Tarkus. But like, I'm like Piggy is like guitar skills was like way more advanced than I was like Johnny Ramones and he was like fucking Steve Howe from Yes, right? So he was trying to show me these riffs, and it was but that's how we became very close, both bands, lots of mutual friends. I was hearing them like write music. Like I was privileged to like hear like songs from like Roar being built and from like Killing Technology, like learning like how they would change and all that and progression. So like I said, like extremely privileged to know these guys. We played some like legendary shows too as well. We played the No Speed Limit in Montreal with Voivod, with like Sacrifice, Nuclear Assault, Agnostic Front, Possessed, DRI. We played with Celtic Frost and Voivod in Quebec City, another amazing show. But yeah, like it's weird when like a band that you worship so much is also like your friends, because you can, and we don't really talk sometimes about the music as much as like, hey, how are you doing, and like things like that. But it was nice to see that progression and that like worldwide respect that people would have like for Voivod and just a craft, like like Biggie, like Away always to me was the guy from like another dimension, another planet, with his concept and his drawings and all that. But Piggy was also like very out there when it comes to like, they had the song Build Your Weapon, and I remember like Piggy in the jam space, like having 3 guitars not even remotely assembled together, and you used to, like Away was mentioning, you take some pickups, put it there, and he always has his welding guns and he kept like trying shit, and so it was amazing to witness and all that. I saw I saw Voivod play in all kind of different possible. I saw them play in like almost barbecues. I saw them play in big stadium. I saw them play in little bars, big bars. But they always been great. And like when I moved from Montreal like years ago, and then I was not in touch as much with them. But every time they would come to Vancouver, out west, like we would always take the time to connect and get together. And I was telling them, like, like if you look at Voivod now, and like you look at their last like performance since Chewy and Rocky's in the band anyway, like it's so freaking professional. Like it looks to me like like it's done professionally. Like everything is tight, like Snake's banters in between song, like he looks like he knows what he's doing. I'm not sure if he knows what he's doing, but it looks really it looks like really well done, right? And we all go see them every time they come around, and they have progressed into, like with Chewy and Rocky, like two amazing like bandmates for them. They have progressed into something like that Piggy would be like super proud if you could, like, I'm sure he's watching somehow, but like he probably like built something like in heaven or wherever he is. I don't know, he can still see the band, but I'm sure he would be super proud that what they have accomplished and all that.
Yeah, wherever Piggy is right now, he's probably putting something yeah, he's like putting screws out of something and then putting it back together, and
in a different way.
In a different way. It's funny because everything we bought on tour, I don't know how many times in the hotel room, we saw his gear spread out on the bed, and then he would try to put it back together. He just wanted to know how it worked. And I tried to put it back together. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't work afterwards. That there was one I had seen in the 80s, the band Love and Rockets, and the guitar player had an EBO. And I told Piggy, man, I saw this thing. The guitar player, it sounds like Robert Fripp, the Frippertronics. And it's like, oh yeah, it's an EBO. I'd love to have one. And then we play in New York, and we have a friend from Electra shows up with an EBO because it's Piggy's birthday. And of course, Piggy goes to the hotel room and takes it apart, and then puts it back together, and it's not working anymore. So, but at the place that Denis was talking earlier, when we all rehearsed in the mid-80s in Montreal, chez Emile, is super important because we had Aggression, Damnation. We were rehearsing there, but there were also all the hardcore bands from Montreal, Scum, The Unruled, Countdown Zero, Fair Warning. So everybody's sort of spying, trying to eardrop, trying to listen through the walls what's going on. And it's actually hugely responsible for the crossover that happened in Montreal, that place.
Yeah. No, you're right.
We were like Alienation. Hey, away! Did a Capitalist Alienation? Were they from up there too?
Yeah, they were from Jonquière, where we came from, and they moved the same time we moved in '85. We basically all moved together, and they were very close friends to the band, and they're the ones who got Snake and I into Discharge and GBH, and Snake and I really got into punk hardcore. And I think that it's still our role today with the new lineup to bring the punk hardcore side to the music, because Rocky and Chewy are really surgical, and we're sort of there to bring the old school trash punk vibe and keep it going.
It works together well. You gave me that record at the show in DC on Killing Technology because you did the cover art. You gave it to me. I love it.
Yeah, it was just reissued again lately, so you can still find on vinyl. You can still find it.
Right on.
Okay, let's go with my favorite. So my favorite record, number 3. I'm gonna show it to you because I have it.
Okay.
The Wake.
Nice.
It's I mean, when I listen to it, like it's almost a progression from Post Society into The Wake. I love everything about it. Like the End of Dormancy is an amazing song, and like it it was bringing me back into like a bit my prog days of listening to King Crimson and Emerson and Palmer and that, but also like just with that metal approach. Up in Canada, it won a Juno, which is the equivalent of a Grammy Award. So, you know, it's not only recognized among like metal fans, and it's recognized among like all music listener. And it did some extra publicity for Voivod up here. Amazing record. I listen to it quite often. It's been in my truck for like since it released, and it's like frequently I'll be driving around because I have many kids to drive to hockey and all kind of shit. But like, and they listen to it all the time, and they like starting to know like the part of the song, and they're like humming to it. And anyway, it's kind of cool. My second favorite album is Nothing Face. It's just because it does contain some of my favorite Voivod song. And I'll get to that very soon. But I just felt like they kept progressing into like even more. It's almost like Voivod was always designed to become that band that used to release that album. But they had to go to that trash phase and to that like extreme metal phase to get to that. And then they were becoming even though their early record was giving us an indication that they would develop their own style, that's when it's like with Dimension Atros, and that one is like kind of like it's kind of like really even express even more what they wanted to achieve. And like I was seeing like Voivod a bit like Rush, like okay, first 3 albums is like more rock, and then the next 3 albums are like more complex, then the next 3 albums is more together. Like, you know, it's kind of like each era has its own little soul that you can go and like, and I still go and listen to albums sometimes. I'm like, did I ever listen to this song before? It seems new to me. I only became to be musically like mature recently. So now when I listen to music, I can actually appreciate what I'm listening to and understanding the complexity of what they have. My favorite Voivod album, it's War and Pain. It's just like, it brings me back to when I met the guys. It brings me back to those times we were so young and we were so reckless into like everything we were doing. We probably like almost died like many times. Even me in a way, we almost got stabbed together at some point after the show. Remember? About it. Yeah. after the World War III. After World War III.
No, it was after a Slayer show, but at the same venue.
Slayer Festival. Yes.
It was there was a war between skinheads and biker. We sort of got caught between that because Gate, your drummer, had no hair, and they thought he was a skinhead. And it was a bad scene. I remember. I've forgotten about that.
Hey, I almost got stabbed with a way. Woohoo!
I know, Wade's laughing. Yeah, man, I almost got killed. Awesome.
And then favorite 3 songs. I would say number 3, Missing Sequence. I just love like Snake's voice on it. Like I feel like the beginning of the song was reminding me a bit of Alice Cooper and that vibe, the way he was singing it. And then like the melodies in it. I have like playlists of favorite songs, and Missing Sequence is like, you know, after like I don't know, like after like Kiss and before fucking Foghat. You know, like to me it's like it's a song that's just part of my life and all that. Second favorite song, it's gotta be The End of Dormancy from the new album. I listen to it a lot, and it's there's so much going on in that song. There's like different movement and everything, and they even redid it with like a orchestra, like some like cello and stuff, right?
With a brass quintet.
Yeah. So
great video.
And, even brought that song even more. But my favorite Voivod song of all time, and like I don't know if I don't think I'm the only guy who likes the song, but you know, like Voivod and Aggression, we always been Ramones fan, and we always been like punk fan, and same as like Denis and Michel. Like I love GBH and Discharge and all that. So I it's the Prow. I just like the vibe of it. It reminds me like freaking Ramones, Beach Boys, metal, like everything. And I listen to it also quite a bit.
The melody on that song always sounds like the Yardbirds. The Yardbirds is what I get out of that song.
Yeah, that guitar vibe too, right?
You hear it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. For Your Love. Go listen to For Your Love. It's very proud melodies, very similar. It's awesome.
Nice. Okay, my question for you guys, and we've been doing this for almost like 90 minutes. My question, like, I'm never satisfied with. I don't have enough Voivod in my life. So my question to you guys is, what's next? What's the follow-up to the Wake looking like? What are you guys working on right now? What's coming up for Voivod? And that's my question.
Yeah.
Well, we were lucky, like last year, right before the lockdown in March, we had a few sessions where we improvised and recorded a bunch of stuff and ideas. And so right now, while socially distancing, we are writing a new album and hoping for a release next year. And so we do that. We sort of synced up online and sharing a Dropbox folder, and we are moving forward with a new album. We were able last year to release a couple of live albums, and so we're trying to move forward. But we next year will be a world tour, if possible, and a new album. But the big year will probably be 2023, and where we want to release a documentary, a book, and hopefully a box set to commemorate the 40th anniversary of the band. So we're still moving forward. But in the meantime, the only thing we can do, we do have offers to play shows in Quebec this summer, but in the meantime, the only thing we can do is do streaming shows. But it's thank God the technology allows us to do that these days. I think everybody's sort of adapted to the pandemic situation where all the studios got equipped with cameras, and so the thing is to always go forward and try to give somebody something to the people who love Voivod and the Iron Gang. we think they deserve it, and that's why we always try to make sure that we write new material and so on.
Definitely.
Awesome. Any final statements for this episode today? And anybody want to add?
One question I forgot to ask, or a song I wanted to ask about, was Mechanical Mind. Like if someone had never heard Voivod and they wanted to hear you guys for the first time, that would be the song I would tell them to listen to, because it covers every era of Voivod in one song. At least to me it does. I mean, was that the intention for that song, was to have some 90s Voivod in there and some classic stuff? It's a total adventure. I love that song.
Well, I think that's the good thing with Rocky and Chewy is that they love, I mean, Chewy is like Piggy was the main writer, Chewy is the main writer these days. And he loves, Chewy loves all eras of Voivod. So even on the Wake, you can hear all the eras all at once. And I think with Mechanical Mind was pretty much a song that Chewy came up with. And it's true that it has sort of the 80s, 90s, and the 2000s in there. And I think that...
The good thing is that Chewy is first of all, he's a fan. He's a fan of the band. So when he composed, he almost goes like, okay, this is it. He creates what he would like to hear from us, you know, and
Yeah.
basically, so that's why maybe Mechanical Mind and many other songs that he writes. I mean, he probably get inspired by whatever the spirit, piggy spirit vibe around himself. I don't know how he does it, but because he's a fan and has been listening to Voivod since he was like 12 years old or something, it's in his blood. And I guess, you know, when it's time to compose a song and bring something new to the band, he just goes into all these reference that he has and put it on the neck itself. And so it's a good thing that Chewy and Rocky were basically fans, you know, when they grew up, and so they bring so much vibe to it, and they bring so much. It's like they bring their own ideas as well. So it's like a refreshing Voivod, sort of, but always keep the piggy whatever, like, spirit around it, and he does it amazingly. Each time he succeeds, you know, he's doing a perfect job on that. So
you guys hit the jackpot with Chewy for sure, man. He's incredible for you guys. Great.
Yeah, totally. And Rocky too. Rocky is a perfect match for the bass to kind of weld with Chewy, you know, and they're like hockey players, like passing the puck, you know, and it's like, okay.
Yeah. And Snake and I were just in the middle of that, like,
try to figure out what's going on.
Well, this lineup is on fire, and that's why we decided to document it with the End of Dormancy live EP at the Jazz Fest in Montreal, and also the Lost Machine LP from the Summer Fest in Quebec City. So like all through the Wake tour, people were telling us, "Oh, you should document that." So at least last year we were able to have a couple of live releases to show how tight this unit is these days. It's a pleasure to work with Rocky and Chewy, and we're pretty excited to be writing new material right now, and we just can't wait for us to go in the studio and record the real thing instead of programming drums and all that. So yeah.
Awesome.
I got two more questions. One is just, I would just like to hear maybe a cool old story, or just something that maybe, you know, you remember from either the old days or maybe an old Piggy story, or just something cool about the band that maybe people don't know, you know, something kind of interesting or just fun. I know it's always hard to think about that kind of stuff on the spot.
Well,
there's many stories, but
I would think that the one that makes me laugh the most is, even though it was a very serious situation, it was in San Diego in '86 with Celtic Frost, and we were attacked by a gang, and in the club they beat up everybody. They attacked this Celtic Frost on stage, and so and then the fight kept going in the backstage area, and then at this point the Reed and Mark was the drummer from Celtic Frost. He was doing a drum solo, and at first he had normal sticks, and then he switched to bigger sticks, and in the end he had like this huge demonstration sticks from the music stores, and he was doing his solo with that. And then during the big fight backstage with the gang in San Diego, I saw Piggy going through the fight with the two big sticks doing some kind of Bruce Lee moves, like woo, 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 woo. And he just went, and he just went, he went right through the fight towards the backstage, and it was one of the funniest moments for me.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thanks for that. And the last question is where's your favorite place in Quebec to get some, or Montreal to get some poutine?
Oh, La Banquise, it's called. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't even know. I'm not even sure what it means in English, actually, but it's they have like 200 types of poutine you can have 24 hours a day. It's really amazing.
That's cool.
All right.
I'll have to try to remember that next time I'm there.
Yeah. And incidentally, Will, I have a cool video of you and Snake on the 70,000 tons of metal singing Fight for Your Right to Party.
Oh, yeah.
I actually have to send it to you, man. It's hilarious. Yeah. Some karaoke action at 4 in the morning or something.
Oh, man.
Vaguely remember that.
Do you remember it? Will?
I do.
Yeah. I don't remember if it was good though. But
it's super cool. I filmed it, and I filmed it with a Zoom camera, and I'll forward that to you. It's super hilarious. Good times.
Yeah, man. I can't wait to see it.
Cool. So does anyone else have anything to add, or should we kind of wrap this one up since we're running a little
we can wrap it up.
Okay. So
one more quick one.
Sure.
And then I'll let you go. I was just wondering, do you guys remember what inspired you to do the Batman theme song, to record that? Because I really love that. It's so cool.
It's funny because I've been asked many times and I can't recall whose idea it was, why we did that. It's
I guess we just love the show, and while we were a kid.
Yeah.
The bing, the bong, the slam, whatever. the whole 1966 version.
Yes.
That when we were a kid, I think it's just the theme songs that stick to your head, and that type of like little rock and roll thing, and ding, 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 ding. It's sort of like it's something that stick to our head as we were a kid, and it was a fun cover to play, and but I don't know, I don't recall exactly who had the idea of putting that out, and
it was so cool though. So
maybe it came naturally that probably Piggy did the riff while we were rehearsing or something, and then it became like something.
But I do remember that Snake always had a Batman pin in the early days on. There are even some photos online where you can see it. So I don't know. We used to play it live. I believe that we played it live before they started.
Hey, play at the Ritz.
Yeah, that's right.
I think. Yeah, I can't remember the show. I think it was.
Yeah, you
Exodus,
played it
maybe?
on Dimension Hatros tour for sure.
Dimension Hatros tour. Yeah.
Cool.
Well, thanks, guys. It was a genius idea. I really love it. It's a great version of it. I love that song anyway. You guys made it really heavy. So,
I even put some double kick action in there.
Oh yeah.
one of those epic '60s songs. That and the Munsters.
Munsters, Adams.
Yeah, Batman and Ultraman, and you can't go wrong.
That's right. Johnny Sacco.
I'd like to thank everyone for giving their time to the Rock Fantasy Files channel tonight, and it was just an epic to sit in the same room with you guys, with Snake and Away, and everyone else that was a part of this tonight. And please take a moment to subscribe to the channel if you like, and hit like, and please comment your favorite Voivod moments in the comments, and your favorite songs and albums. And thanks to everyone. So
thank you guys. You guys fucking love.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Voivod rules.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us, guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Take care.
Take care.